Hi guys! I got furloughed like much of the rest of the population, and instead of making more homemade lip balm from the kit I bought on Amazon, I thought I would start a YouTube channel to pass the time. So my name is Melissa and I work in the wine industry as a sales rep. Before working in the wine industry, I've worked in many other fields like most millennials do, and I finally figured out wine is something I am incredibly passionate about, and I can finally confidently say I found the industry that I want to work in for the rest of my life. So with that in mind, I wanted to take the time and do some high-level overviews about wine history, grape varietals, food pairings, etc. So for this first episode, I'm going to cover my favorite thing to drink, and that is sparkling wine. You could probably see this beautiful sign behind me that says, "Pop the bubbly." First things first, many people still don't know that not all sparkling wine is champagne. In fact, champagne can only be called champagne if it is produced using the traditional method in the Champagne region of France. There are, other methods used to make sparkling wine in different regions that create sparkling wine call it something different. So for example, many people drink Prosecco, which is the name of a village in Veneto, Italy, about 15 miles north of Venice, where Prosecco is produced. Prosecco is made from Glera grapes and typically is a smidge sweeter than champagne. And it's made using the tank method. So champagne uses the traditional method, and I'll explain a little bit more about what that means later. And it's significantly more affordable than most champagne. So another popular sparkling wine is known as cava, and cava comes from Catalonia in Spain. It's made using the traditional method just like champagne and is typically made from, forgive my pronunciations here, Macebo, Xarel·lo, and Peredillo grapes. Cava is less sweet than Prosecco and is often more affordable than most champagne, just like Prosecco. These are just a few of the most popular ones though. There's also sparkling from Germany known as Sekt. Sekt, translated from English to German, is sparkling. So if you ever see Sekt on a bottle, you know it's a sparkling wine from Germany. There's also Crémant, which is usually produced in the Loire Valley, and Burgundy in France, and many more. So with all of these options, what's all the hype behind champagne? So champagne has such a vast history and really created a name for sparkling wine. So Dom Perignon produced the first sparkling version of champagne in 1693 and was famously quoted with saying, "Come quickly, I'm tasting the stars." Champagne is primarily made from Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Meunier grapes. At entry level, you're going to be paying at least $40 for a good bottle. Depending on different factors, including the weather, grape varietals used, and the aging process, champagne usually has one or more of the following notes. And this could be a scent or a taste. So citrus, peach, white cherry, almond, and toast. I mentioned earlier that it's made using the traditional method, aka méthode traditionnelle or méthode classique. This is simply all just meaning that sparkling wine went through a second fermentation in the bottle in which it is sold. There's a much more in-depth way to explain the process, but I'm just going to keep it simple today. There's also different levels of sweetness when it comes to champagne. So starting at the driest and going from driest to sweetest, Brut Nature is the driest, so it has like 0 to 2 grams of sugar per liter. Then Extra Brut is next, so less than 6 grams per liter of sugar, if you're following my drift. Followed by Brut, which I'm sure you've seen the most frequently. And then there's Extra Sec, which is a little bit sweeter than that, followed by Sec, Demi-sec, and Doux being the sweetest. This is the French translation. There are other regions that obviously have similar descriptions with sugar in the language of their designated region. The most confusing one is Extra Sec, which translates into extra dry in English, and that one is detectably sweet. So it can be confusing and misleading. I always say if you want something not sweet, it's always safe to just go with Brut. So that's a little bit about all that. And now I want to cover the best part, the food pairing. So I care about wine so much that I recommend always to pick your wine first and then find the food that goes with what you want to drink. Most people do the opposite. The second you choose your wine first and your food second, you'll learn to appreciate wine just a little bit more. I arguably think champagne goes with everything, and because different grapes are used to make different sparkling wines, they're going to pair best with slightly different foods. So for today, I'm going to keep it simple and stick with champagne pairing specifically today. So champagne goes beautifully with shellfish, oysters, and pickled veggies. I also believe it goes wonderfully with potato chips, french fries, and pizza. This is an entirely personal preference, the pizza one, and I know people will argue with me on that for sure. But speaking of personal preferences, I despise mimosas. It's like putting a bumper sticker on a Rolls Royce. Why would you ruin a good sparkling wine with something else added to it? If your answer is, well, the sparkling wine isn't that good, so you have to add something to it, you need to get a different sparkling wine to drink. Sorry. So a fun alternative that doesn't take away from the flavor of bubbles is if you get a glass of sparkling wine or champagne and ask for it with a lemon twist. I do this from time to time, but most of the time I just enjoy the bubbles, as they are, because they're perfect just as they are. As I mentioned earlier, champagne can get expensive, and typically starting price point, like I said, is $40. So I'll not limit you to only champagne in the 3 options I recommend today. So, you don't have to break the bank every time you want to open some bubbles. I just want to prove that to you. So the first one that I'm going to tell you guys about, I'll start with Gruet. Gruet Winery is a family-owned and run winery in New Mexico, producing mostly Pinot Noir and Chardonnay grapes, and specializes in using the traditional method. The one I buy the most is the Gruet Brut, which is crisp with citrus and green apple, as well as some mineral notes as well. They also have a rosé, blanc de blanc, blanc de noir, and more. I usually find Gruet in Total Wine and ABC, and of course it's available on their website at gruetwinery.com. The price point is really affordable for the quality as well, and typically ranges between the $15 to $20 range. So the next one I want to talk about is one of my all-time favorites, and that's Raventos. So the Raventos family has lived on the estate in Catalonia since 1497, and 21 generations of the Raventos family have worked on the estate. In fact, one of the Raventos family members created the first sparkling wine using the traditional method in Spain and created the cava designated origin. So my favorite out of the Raventos is the De Nit. It's a blend of, again, forgive my pronunciation, Xarello, Macebo, Paradea, and Monastrell grapes. It's a very delicate pink in hue and has notes of refreshing light citrus and red flowers. It ranges between 25 to 30 plus a bottle, so still not too high, and it's arguably one of my favorite sparkling wines to ever exist. It's a fantastic gift, and at that price point, you can buy one for yourself too without breaking the bank. The problem is it seems kind of hard to find. I buy it when I'm at one of my favorite restaurants over in Orlando. I live in Orlando, and over at Osprey Tavern located in Baldwin Park. But it appears you can also buy it from Bevfly, who will deliver it to you and will likely give you a discount for your next order. So just Google Bevfly, see if Raventos is available in there. We all know people love Dom and Veuve, so I wanted to go in a different direction with my still mostly affordable but a little bit more expensive sparkling option to kind of wrap up what I recommend as some of my favorites. So I'll recommend the Paul Bara Grand Rosé Brut Champagne. This one is a true champagne because it is from the Champagne region of France. According to Josh Reynolds, who is a well-known wine critic, he rated it at 91, which is a really good number in the wine world. He says, One of the small, high-quality champagne estates. Paul Bara's current lineup includes some marvelous, precise, impeccably well-balanced champagnes that are at the top of the qualitative pyramid. That sounds like so fancy. The non-vintage Brut Rosé, 100% boozy, exhibits a light, subtle pinkish color, followed by elegant strawberry aromas, excellent richness, small, pinpoint, persistent bubbles, and a long, dry, rich finish without excessive acidity. It's a refreshing, flavorful champagne to drink over the next 4 to 5 years. So this one can be kind of difficult to find as well, but it's worth going to your favorite local independent wine shop or wine bar to ask if there are any available or if they can order it for you. So it's between that $60 to $70 plus a bottle, depending on where you get it. It's worth it if you can find it. Trust me, I found it at one of Orlando's best local wine spots, the Swirlery. So if you're an Orlando local, make sure to check them out. They have a lot more unique wines such as this one and many others. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this first episode. Please subscribe and share this with your friends, and I'll see you on the next episode. Cheers.